Richie! I'm going to do a contest entry into DeadWax66 Locals Only video. He wants you to show bands from your area, the vicinity where you live. If you live in a small town, you can show from the country. You know, there's no hard set rules. I live in Southern California, so I have a vast majority of bands that I could show. I could show 60s. I mean, some of the biggest bands from the 60s were from LA, you know, the Doors. I could have shown garage type bands, you know, the Standells, Chocolate Watch Band, the Seeds. I mean, it's just endless. I could have done a 70s punk, could have done an 80s hardcore punk. Southern Cal had the biggest 80s hardcore scene in the world. But I decided to go really narrow it down to the 3 cities that I've lived in basically most of my life. I was born in Bakersfield, California. Bakersfield was known for what was called, back in the 60s, the Nashville West. And Buck Owens was the leader of that sound. Fantastic. That Rickenbacker sound and the harmonies between him and Don Rich, second to none. Nothing topped it. Actually, Buck Owens was the biggest selling country artist of the 60s. And to Nashville's, they didn't really like it, you know. There's a lot of talk about the outlaw country sound from Texas. Well, Bakersfield, they were the original outlaw, not the Nashville status quo. And this is Buck Owens' album, I Don't Care. Y'all might know the Ramones covered that song. There's another album by Buck, Live at the Carnegie Hall in New York City. Fantastic album. I mean, this album illustrated just how tight this band was. I mean, they were as tight as these outfits are tight. The only problem I have with this album is these melodies. There's 2 of them on side 1, 1 of them on side 2. I mean, they do like a minute of each song. Just do the whole damn song. I mean, come on. I that's the one thing I don't like about. And here's another live one. Buck Owens live in London. Pretty similar. Piccadilly Circus, I believe. But, you know, he's a little more hip on this, you know. Look at that outfit. He's a little more hip on this one. And this is one of his later albums. When he did his comeback, when Dwight went to go visit him, and Dwight Yoakam kind of talked him into coming out of retirement. And this album is fantastic. You can get this album for cheap. On side 2, it has a duet, Under Your Spell Again, with Dwight Yoakam. And that was the first song, Under Your Spell Again. That was the first song that I really remember as a kid. When I was a little kid, I didn't really pay too much attention to music until I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. But this album here, side 2, it finishes with 3 rockers. Summertime Blues, the Eddie Cochran song, who I'm going to talk about later in this video. The Memphis song, the Chuck Berry song. And this is one of the best covers of Memphis I've ever heard in my life. The vocals on it it just brings out the emotional intensity of the lyrics that you don't really get with the Chuck Berry one. And then Hot Dog, the last song, is a rockabilly song that Buck Owens wrote and originally did in, I think, 1959. Fantastic album. Now, Buck Owens' wife, Bonnie Owens, she made an album here. She made a few, but I only have one. This is Don't Take Advantage of Me. Pretty good album. She has a decent voice. But what's weird is when Buddy Owens and Buck got divorced, she married Merle Haggard. It's kind of weird, you know. And she didn't change her name. She kept her name as Bonnie Owens. And this is a great album. Mama Tried, fantastic song. Merle Haggard again from Bakersfield, California. This is a 70s album. What is it? A working man can't get nowhere today. Things haven't changed much, have they? And then this one here is an 80s one. And I've shown this album before. And when I showed it, somebody made a comment. You know, they really like this album. And they really dig the I don't give a shit attitude of Merle. He's in his bed with his cowboy boots on, you know? How cool is that? And then another band from Bakersfield, the Bakersfield Boogie Boys. This is like a cross between Devo and Flying Lizard, that band that had that song Money. It's an EP. Side one, they do a cover of Okie from Muskogee, the Merle Haggard song, and Get Off of My Cloud, the Stone song. Side two, they do I Get Around, a cover of the Beach Boys. And the second song on side two is an original. It's a pretty quirky, gimmicky. It's on Rhino Records. When 1980, when Rhino first started as a record label, they released a lot of gimmicky stuff, and this is no exception. Bakersfield Boogie Boys. Korn came from Bakersfield. I don't have any of their albums. I have their first CD, maybe their second CD, but I didn't want to dig out no CDs. From Bakersfield, I moved 1980, 81. I moved to Red Cross. I moved to Downey, California. And the biggest band that I knew of at that time from Downey was the Carpenters. I don't have any Carpenters on vinyl. I have a greatest hit, 20 greatest hits on CD. But I do have this 7-inch. It's the Red Cross doing Yesterday Once More, and Sonic Youth doing Superstar. Two Carpenters covers from it's like a comp of Carpenter songs. And yeah, Carpenters. In fact, I saw Richard Carpenter in Middle Earth Records, the record store in Downey that I bought a lot of my collection, probably maybe half. And yeah, the Blasters, they would go there, and I even the band I'm going to show next would go into there. But yeah, this is the Blasters. Late 70s, early 80s, rockabilly. Part of that first, maybe second wave of punk. Really good rockabilly band. And the third band I'm going to show from Downey is Metallica. James Hetfield was born in Downey, California. And I believe they used to rehearse at his parents' house. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot of history. I know their first gig was in Anaheim, which is just a little south of Downey. But yeah, this is Metallica. They left the LA area, I believe in 82, 83-ish time. And they kind of insinuated that they left because the only scene in LA was the hair metal band and the hair metal band scene and that. And that actually is not true. In 82, the biggest rock scene in LA was the hardcore punk scene. And this concert here, I believe it was in 82 or 83. Black Flag with the Misfits and the Vandals opening at the Santa Monica Civic. There was over 3,000 people at this gig. Fantastic. I'm going to put a little link to this concert. The sound quality is not that good, but you'll be blown away at the crowd at that 1982-83 gig. And it's this lineup here of Black Flag, This is the fantastic album. One of my favorite Black Flag albums, the 1982 demos, and it has maybe their best lineup with Henry singing, with Chuck Biscuits on drums, and you also got Dez and Greg both on guitar, and you got Chuck on the bass. This is a fantastic lineup, and these versions of these songs I think are better than the ones that are on Slip It In and My War. Fantastic. From Downey, I moved to Bell Gardens on the other side of the river, the bad side of the tracks, some may say. And an artist that was born in Oklahoma, but in the Dust Bowl, a lot of the Okies, they moved to California. And the main roads, a lot of it went to Bakersfield. They ended up stopping in Bakersfield. But a lot of them stayed on the Imperial Highway, and they ended up in Bell Gardens, California. That's where I currently live. In fact, I think the sheriffs, the Los Angeles sheriffs, actually stopped the Okies from entering Los Angeles, and that's why a lot of the Okies settled in Bell Gardens. And Eddie Cochran lived in Bell Gardens when he recorded his hits. And this one has 20 Flight Rock on it. Fantastic song. And I got one other of his, Summertime Blues. The Who covered this song, as we all know. But yeah, fantastic artist. And that's my locals only. Take care. Subscribe to Randy, DeadWax66. He did hit his 1,000, so he can do his live streams. And I'm going to ask you to, anybody that watches this, to subscribe to Psyche Derek. Because before that new rule came in, Psyche Derek would do a live stream one Friday, and then the following Friday, DeadWax66 would do it. But if you have it, find it in your heart, Psyche Derek doesn't need that many, like 100 or so, I think. Subscribe to him. I'm going to leave a link to his channel, and he shows fantastic. If you like 60s and 70s psych and underground, obscure music, you're probably already subscribed to him, so I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass here. Anyways, that's my entry, Randy. I hope it's on time. I wasn't expecting to do a video this soon, but I wanted to enter your contest. Take care, guys and gals.